For most of us, it would be absolutely unthinkable to knowingly let a child die. If you came around a corner and saw an infant lying on the ground, cold, alone, and exposed, you would take immediate action to provide care for that child. You wouldn't even have to think about it. It would just be human instinct, a moral conviction. Yet, here in Minnesota, after callous changes to law made by the Democrat trifecta over the last 2 years, it is now the policy of our state to let some children die, to do nothing to save them, to just let them expire. That's why House Republicans brought House File 24 up for a floor vote this week. House File 24 highlights the horrific reality that unless this bill becomes law, infants who are born alive after a botched abortion could be left to die without care. Now, whatever your position on abortion is, all of us should agree that a child who has been born is, in fact, a child. No infant should be denied life-saving medical care because of how they were born. This bill demands that providers do their duty to provide life-saving care. By voting against this bill, House Democrats signaled their support of the practice of allowing infants to die after they were born. Their justification for that is the same as their justification for allowing abortion up until the moment of birth, because the baby is unwanted. But that idea that human life should be valued by whether or not a child was planned or wanted is fundamentally reprehensible. And we used to have broad agreement on this before Democrats removed all reporting requirements surrounding the abortion industry so that it could proceed in its death dealing without any scrutiny. We knew, based on state reports, that there were an average of 3 to 5 infants born alive during abortions every year here in Minnesota. During debate on this bill, House Democrats incoherently oscillated between the conflicting claims that this documented fact isn't true and claiming that, a few dead children aren't enough to matter.
So this whole idea that there are infants born alive after an abortion, this is not something that actually happens.
Representative Liebling, I think the Department of Health knew darn good and well what the legislature meant when that bill was passed, and that is exactly the data they were keeping.
But those are 3 to 5 children per year who deserve a chance to live. No doctor should ever wonder if they should save a baby's life. This bill makes it clear. Yes, you should save a baby's life, if able. Normal people don't have to ponder that. Healthcare providers have a mandate to save lives, not to decide which ones are worth saving. This isn't a debate about abortion. An infant who has been born alive can no longer be aborted, by definition. It can, however, be murdered. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Are we going to allow living, breathing infants to die from neglect and exposure? Minnesota should not be a place where babies are discarded like garbage. If we can't vote to protect a living, breathing infant in bipartisan fashion, something is deeply wrong.